What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. Thank you so much for checking out tonight's video. Now tonight, guys, we're here recapping Monday Night Football between the San Francisco 49ers and the St. Louis Rams. Now this was a very exciting matchup. I thought this match was just completely, neck and neck until the end of until the fourth quarter just completely blew up, and it went in San Francisco's way as they win 31-17. And this was really a heartbreak for the St. Louis Rams. The St. Louis Rams really controlled this entire matchup from the first quarter. It really, started sliding away in the second half, where the St. Louis Rams gave up a total of 21 points in the second half alone. That is a lot, including when you go into halftime with a 14-10 lead. Now, when you look at the quarterback battle tonight, you had Colin Kaepernick taking on Austin Davis. Colin Kaepernick is a quarterback which I had a lot of faith in, coming into the season. Yes, I had a lot of faith in Kaepernick, even though he did miss a lot of their linemen. They're having a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. They're missing out on Aldon Smith, who's currently serving a suspension, and then you have to compete without Navarro Bowman. It's always those defensive issues that's going to keep the 49ers, from winning that big victory. But you know what? This is a season where the 49ers have their back against the wall. They're coming into a season without a lot of their key players, like an Aldon Smith, like a Navarro Bowman. But they still have guys like Parrish Cox, who's leading the NFL in interceptions right now. I think he has 3 on the year. Eric Reed is there. Antoine Bethea is there. So this team is really holding up a whole lot. But when you also look into tonight's game for the 49ers, they did lose out on Patrick Wills, who left in the second half, did not return for the game, so that's a big loss there for the 49ers. If he's not able to go next week, you're going to have a lot of questions going forward for next week's game. But for the St. Louis Rams, it was a pretty interesting matchup. Like I said, in the first half, they were controlling the 49ers. San Francisco could not get anything going on offense. They had a very powerful running game in Frank Gore. The passing game was very, with the names that they have there, just nothing was going to, going their way. It was all Austin Davis for the St. Louis Rams in the early goings of the first quarter, as they were able to post 14 points on the San Francisco 49ers. It was a pretty, slow start to the 49ers defensive backs, which I have a lot of faith in Eric Reed and Parrish Cox. But you know what? As the time goes by, it was all San Francisco. San Francisco was able to bounce back in the second quarter and post 10 points before going into halftime. Brandon Lloyd stepped up in a big way within 10, 15 seconds left in the second quarter going into halftime. It was all Brandon Lloyd who got a huge 75-yard touchdown reception, and that really cemented the 49ers in getting back into this game. So when you really look into this, it was all turnovers. It was on a big turnover matchup as well. In the early goings, the San Francisco 49ers did have a turnover from Vance McDonald, and that really, it set up some, victory formations for the St. Louis Rams in their first half, thinking that it was going to be all them today, but it was not. Their defense could not close out the big one. Their defense could not cover a whole lot. A lot of penalties killed them. Janoris Jenkins was blown in coverage tonight. So it was all 49ers in the second half. They just could not keep up with the kind of offense that they run there. Frank Gore was actually really, shut out in this entire game tonight. 16 carries for 38 yards, having a long run of only 9 yards tonight. And it seemed like, Carlos Hyde was kind of there to play stationary, because when you look at it, Frank Gore was getting very agitated in the second half. He was not getting a lot more snaps. 16 carries, that's a lot, but, that's not enough for a high-caliber running back in him. A top 10 running back in the NFL, no doubt about that. But it seemed like Carlos Hyde was getting a nice bulk of the carries in the second half. I don't know if they were playing conservative, but I think that Frank Gore, if you have a running back of his, capacity, you want to give him more carries than just 16 in this game. I know it was a pass-first kind of a game because, the defensive backs for St. Louis tend to, blow coverage and everything like that. And we saw that tonight. Look at the Brandon Lloyd touchdown. Look at the Anquan Boldin multiple catches that he had tonight. You also got to look at Stevie Johnson's receptions. There was a lot of blown coverage there by the defensive backs for the St. Louis Rams. So you got to continue. You got to pull in the rushing game a whole lot because, like I said, you got Frank Gore on your roster. You got to start using him at some point, and you got to bring the rushing game, because that's going to be really important, including going in the next week when you go into Denver. I think it's either you're going into Denver. I'm pretty sure it's going into Denver for next week. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that plays out. Now, for the quarterback statistics in this game, it has to go with Colin Kaepernick. He had complete control in this game. 22 for 36 for 343 yards and 3 touchdowns. Austin Austin Davis, this was a kind of a step back game. I mean, he has had some pretty electrifying games. Does this really affect him from going forward as a starter? Absolutely not. I really like what Austin Davis really brings to the plate. Yes, he was an FCS level quarterback. They were covering a whole lot about his story to where he is right now, being a high school assistant quarterback coach or some sort of thing like that, things of that nature. And then he got the call from the St. Louis Rams saying they wanted him back. He also had a short stint with the Miami Dolphins, but the St. Louis Rams were without Sam Bradford. They bring up Austin Davis, and then look at tonight. He did not. He was controlling the 49ers for the longest time in the first half, and then all of a sudden the defense just blows assignments, and it really costs him. Austin Davis finishes the game 21 for 42 with 236 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. There was a costly interception in the fourth quarter that really costed and completely separated the 49ers from the St. Louis Rams. So the next time I'm going to catch you guys is going to be tomorrow night. I'm going to have a couple of DVD reviews for you guys, and I hope you guys checked out the Abyss DVD that I made for the professional wrestling stuff. Got a couple of mixed martial arts videos I'm going to be doing, so make sure you guys go and check that out. I'm Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. Thank you so much for checking out today's video, and make sure you click that subscribe button.